You know, before I show you guys us out having fun with this, I'm going to tell you the story of where this car came from and how we got it back.
What is going on, guys? I'm Watch Go, and today I'm going to get a little bit of VinWiki on you. It's looking a little bit more motorcycle behind me than cars, but hey, we got Dom the Grom, the 1198, the 14 Grom, the Fury, the full Ruckus builds behind me, but we're going to talk about my 1994 Chevrolet Z28 Camaro. This car is pretty special to me. That's why it sits in the driveway. You guys have seen it for I don't know how many episodes and hundreds of questions about when are we going to see the Camaro. Well, today you're going to see it. This was I think my third car, but it was definitely the most fun car that I'd had to this point. I got this car when I was a junior in high school. My 1992 Jaguar XJ6 Sovereign had just gotten wrecked, and the insurance check from this actually bought the Camaro. It was a pretty good deal. I got rear-ended while I was sitting still, waiting to turn into a business. And that was the end of the Jaguar. It obliterated it as soon as it got hit. And here comes the Camaro. It's got a 5.7 liter V8, the famous LT1 with the OptiSpark. I've never had a single OptiSpark failure, but I've had plenty of other failures. I've been through, I think, 3 transmissions, 4 alternators. Those things, I don't even understand how it ate so many alternators, but it used to blow through them. It had an Optima battery. I took care of the electrical system. Everything was wired correctly. It's not anymore, but back then it was all OEM and taken care of, and somehow it still went through alternators. I don't know how many transmission mounts it broke. It used to snap those cheap O'Reilly's transmission mounts like that over and over and over, and eventually I put an energy suspension one in it and it never broke again. Then one day I was driving it to work. I was probably 20 at this point, and the electronics in the transmission had stopped shifting it again. I didn't want to rebuild the transmission again. So I was manually shifting through the gears and everything, and then I noticed the temp creeping up, and I was like, you know what, that's it. It's the head gasket. Of course it was the head gasket. I trailered the car back home after that, put it in front of the shop, and then threw it on Craigslist. That was the end of it. I was like, you know what, I'm done with this car. I never want to see it again. Well, an old guy came and bought it from me off Craigslist. I think he gave me 1,200 bucks. I said, put it on your trailer and get it out of here as long as you bring me some money. He did. He changed the head gasket, put it back together, and off it went. From then on, I saw the car all the time. I'd see it driving around. I talked to one of the old owners. I caught him on the street and said, hey, that's my old car. He didn't seem to care at all. He kind of just looked at me weird and then drove off. But it mattered to me. You know, if somebody says, hey, that's my old car, I'd be like, come check it out. Hop in, take a look around, you know? That's cool. And after that, I just saw it nonstop on Craigslist. My friends would send me the link all the time. They'd be like, I think this is your old car. And I was like, yep, sure is. It was up for $4,000 at one point, maybe $4,500. I told the guy I'd give him like 2. And he was like, yeah, you can give me 4. So that was the end of that conversation. And I saw it again, I just ignored it. And then I was on Beater Bash with Zach. We went and bought a V6 Camaro and fully do-it-for-Daled it out. We had it down the side. We had NASCAR logos that we had photoshopped into, I think, do-it-for-Dale logos. We slapped some huge 3s on the doors, and then I think we printed a giant, the leopard or the cat, whatever it was, from Ricky Bobby, and we slapped that on the hood. And then we put a Fig Newton's banner all the way across the back window. And I forgot what we put on the front, but more Ricky Bobby or do-it-for-Dale action. It was awesome. I love that car. And Beater Bash is a little rally where you take a $500 car and you get to go beat it up with your friends for a few days in Arkansas. And we had a lot of fun with that, you know? You get running into your friends while you're driving down the road and everybody just kind of hitting each other at stoplights. But we took it pretty easy on that Camaro. It didn't get much damage. A lot of the other cars barely made it home after that. But the Camaro, I mean, we drove it to Arkansas, did Beater Bash, and drove it straight back. And it was dead reliable. I think, you know, I didn't pay much for it. We changed the plugs, changed the oil, and took it. And on the way back, another friend sent me the link for my 1994 Z again, and it was up for $1,500. I said, I'll give you $1,000. And the guy was like, you know what, I take your $1,000, messaged right back, but I won't have a car to drive. And I said, I'll tell you what, I'll bring you a car that drives much better and starts every time. And on top of that, I'll throw in a few $100s. So I took that car that I had a few $100s in, 800 or 1,000 after everything was said and done, all the parts, all the, you know, maintenance, everything we had done. And we had just finished beating it pretty hard. And we pulled all the vinyl off it in the driveway. I called the guy while we're coming back from Arkansas, and I was like, hey, I can meet you in, you know, 3 hours or whatever it was, because we were almost home. So we stopped here, pulled the vinyl off of it, grabbed a heat gun to get off whatever we needed, wiped everything down real quick, and then met him at a quick trip, and we swapped keys, and he handed me the title, and I had my 1994 Z back. I'd say this was 6 years after I sold it. I'll show you the auto check right now. It has 10 calculated owners on the auto check, and that's before I re-registered it. So now it's at 11 owners, and I can't tell you how many times it was transferred to open title. It was destroyed when I got it back. It's probably had at least 12 or 13 owners, and I heard from the guy I bought it from that the guy before him was making it a race car, and this is still, keep this in mind, a completely stock LT1. They pulled out my built transmissions. They all had the heavy duty shift kit and the Corvette servo and, you know, everything you can do. All the bolt-ons for the 4L60E, they were all done when I sold it. And they were done to all of my transmissions. When I got it back, it shifts, you know, real softly like a stock 4L60E. I'm sure that's what's in it now. It still has my Moroso cold air intake on it. All the wiring's been destroyed. They've hacked off the wiring to the E-fans, and now the E-fans run all the time, if I remember right. There's like speaker wire running the E-fans. There's just, oh man, the hood is a wreck underneath. They pulled out the cowl. The windshield wipers are completely gone. The radio doesn't turn on until the headlights are on. It's wild how bad this car is now. The glove box is missing. All of the rear plastic trim was missing. I'm not gonna show you guys all this because I can pretty much just describe it. And I've also just kind of slowly over time just been piecing it back together. I worked out a trade deal with one of my buddies. He wanted something, vinyl work or some parts. He had some BMR suspension parts for a 94 F body. I said, bring those over, let's make this trade. So I've got those sitting inside ready to go in the car. When I sold the car, oh man, the system was so great. It has Alpine Type R components in it. Those are still in the doors, I'll give it that. They're not destroyed yet. My radio was ripped out. It had a Pioneer DEHP 6700, one of my favorite head units of all time. The IP bus input lets you have an aux in, and it's got that OLED display animated. It was awesome. It was so period correct because that was an old receiver in an old car. It had the cool system in the back, JL10W3 in a stealth box in the T-top area. Had an Alpine 300 watt amp, nicely mounted up against the back wall. And of course, stereo systems were my bread and butter for a long time. So it was beautifully wired, not a wire out of place, every single connection soldered and heat shrinked. So all of that was ripped out and it was just all trashed. It's hard to say how rough the car is now. It had an LS1 leather all the way through it, all the seats. They're all ripped. I think every single seat cushion has a rip in it now, a big one. Or big gashes where you can see the foam. I pulled out the LT1 center console and put the LS1 one in because it has 3 cup holders, 4 cup holders. It has cup holders. And the LT1 console, of course, has 1, and it's just not a nice looking console either. So I swapped all that out. And you know, that's kind of where the car is at today. The exhaust is cut off, everything's missing. The wheels are plastidipped, another pet peeve of mine. So my first order of business when I finally go to work on this car, it runs and drives just fine now. But when I go to work on it, I think we're gonna rip everything apart. I'd like to find a new, like a 6th gen Camaro with an LT1 and move that entire package over. The engine, transmission, and the gauge cluster, and see how much of that I can work in, maybe the entire dash. And then kind of preserve the older, the 4th gen F bodiness in the back. And I want it to run and drive like a modern car and actually have some horsepower. The wheels will of course get stripped, powder coated back to their factory color. I want to throw BF Goodrich, but the KDWA, whatever that tire. It's, you know, a nice little high performance tire. That's where I'd like that thing to be. I just want it to look completely stock and have some power and still look the way it did when I had it when I was a kid. Purple pearl metallic paint. I want the hood stripes put back. The vents were painted orange when I bought it. I want that put back. You know, you fall in love with your first car and you want it back the exact same way. So it kind of hurts how badly it's destroyed and how much money it's going to take to fix that car. But that's what I plan on doing down the road. I don't know how long it'll be. I figure it's a $30,000, $40,000 build just to kind of get it back on the road where I want it. I could slap it back together really cheap and make the thing work, but that's not what I want to do. I want it to be right. Oh, the driver's side window falls out when you open the door. It literally falls out and it's been changed. It was all tinted by one of my friends. Easily the best tinter in the city, and he retired. And man, the job was flawless. The whole interior was flawless. And now it's got a different window in it where the tint was stripped and it falls out when the door opens. So you have to hold it in place and pull the door shut. And it looks like the chassis may have twisted more. The old F bodies are kind of famous for that. If you launch them all the time, they'll start to kind of twist. Maybe it's the door delaminating. I think part of the door skin's delaminating. So I'll probably have to find doors. They put hood pins in it. I gotta find a hood, gotta find the cowl, gotta find the wipers. I need to go buy another 4th gen Camaro, strip it, and put all the parts on here. So now let's start this thing up for the first time in like a year and a half, and let's go play. It just snowed. I'm ready to have some fun. We'll try to do some donuts. The tires are shot, so I don't know how that's gonna work out. here we go. What is going on, guys? We're here in the snow with the Camaro, the car you've all been waiting to see run forever. Here's the battery. Let's stick it in it and go do some donuts in the snow before it melts, that is. It's starting to get a little bit warm out. First off, we're gonna move the Miata. It's in the way. Then we're gonna get the hood open on this, get this battery in it, and go play. The Miata, very covered in snow. Ready for that dope Miata startup?
Mm-hmm.
This thing hasn't moved in a while, actually.
Fires right up.
All right, since it's covered in snow, we're just gonna brush the hood. And if you're like, why are you brushing the paint? Well, the paint is gone. There's no paint left on this car. The stupid hood pins. I did not put hood pins on this car. I promise you, I would never do such a thing. Pull this out. One heavy hood.
Lol.
Too much weight. All right, maybe the hood's supposed to hold it up now?
Doubt it.
Please do it. Yeah! Champions.
Oh, look at that. It's like it was meant for it.
It almost is, like it actually fits or something. It's strange that it would do what it's supposed to do. I don't think my special side terminal battery wrench here will even work on this because it's such a hack job. All these people that have owned it after me, like they replaced all the factory GM terminals with these really junky ones, and they're all different size wrenches, so. And I just dropped the bolt out of that one because it's not retained. Now, I have to go try to rescue that.
I heard it.
It went to the ground. There we go.
Think she'll start?
Oh yeah, it's gonna start. Yeah, I definitely have faith in this old. It's a GM like V8. When do they ever not start? Other than when the crank sensors are out.
Yeah, right. Oh, no, that's that Suburban Yukon Tahoe over
Yeah,
there.
that thing. I don't care what you call it. It's always a Silverado at the end of the day. Okay. I'd say this is good. Now let's throw some fuel in it, air up the tires, and it's playtime. All right. So.
Hey, put the hood pin back on.
We have to install these pieces of junk though. And one of them has like a child's bank lock.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Holds it
It's
to the
terrible. It's almost not even a good gun lock either.
It's just trash.
It's a luggage lock. Hey guys.
Hey, it worked in the snow somehow, so that's amazing.
You have the key, right?
Yeah, I do. Okay, when I bought the car back, the remote was gone, so I did buy a new remote, and it made noise. It didn't unlock, but it made noise. All right, here comes that startup.
Did you want fuel first?
We can put fuel in while it's warming up. That's kind of my hope. Okay, unlocked. Then the window's gonna fall out. We'll have to fight that off. Man, it's not the worst thing inside. It's pretty clean. It hasn't ran in like a year and a half.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Let's put fuel in it.
Decide that's clear. Charles is 50.
Race gas from the race gas can. Oh man, that thing's stuck.
You got half a tank.
I know. I just want new fuel in it. Woo-wee! There are no tires left on the back.
Tearing them tires up. Is this stuck?
It might have actually frozen onto the stem. There it goes. It's like fully open header. They just cut the exhaust off back there. I don't know what owner, but somebody did. All right. The first time it's been out in years. I do think we've started it a few other times, but probably not in a year since that last battery started dying. Just the smallest tap. Oh, it's so great. Should we
Here, try it again right here. Oh, traffic. I think the climate actually did heat up and start working. We got a low track light, and it feels like I have no power steering.
I just pulled.
What a bunch of rattles. It is an old rattle trap. Whenever this project actually starts, it needs a full restoration, every single bolt. I want this thing to be perfect.
This car will be amazing.
Yeah.
Redone.
Kick some donuts real quick. Well, I wanted to, but it just started rotating, and then it just kept rotating. There's no traction at all. I can't get enough traction to spin it back. All right, let's put it in second, see what happens here. All right, we should get a good spin right here. Downhill. These are some pretty weak donuts. All right, downshift to first, girl. There you go. All right, creep out of your hole.
Yeah, come up there and go down.
Yeah.
It should go.
We need a little bit of entry speed too. Just to idle their spinning.
Whatever that was.
Some leaves and stuff. All right, here we go. This is the one. Come on.
It just doesn't
It won't even let me point it anywhere, you know? Should we just launch it down this little drag strip and then see how much we can turn into it? This is the move. That's all we got. I gotta get close to this pole.
Yeah, yeah.
That's as good as our donuts are getting.
That was not bad though.
Nope.
We'll be back with the Miata.
What's funny is if we had a dry parking lot, this thing would smash donuts all day. No problem at all. We just need the front end to hook up. The rear end will come around every time. Well, the old Camaro is a champion. What a beast. Now the ignition's broke, so you usually have to, oh wow, it came right out this time. This is the wrong, it thinks the key is in or something. That's, whoever, somebody like hacked this together with a hammer, and you have to wiggle the key to make it work anyway. I mean, now it comes out correctly, but I can't tell if it's on or an accessory. It's a whole big mess. That should be accessory. That should be off. I think it's off. So we're gonna hope, and hope the battery's not dead next time we come out here.
Thank you guys for joining me today as I recount my adventures from my fun high school car, the 94 Z28 Camaro. As always, thank you so much for being here as well. I don't say it enough. I need to get to it in every video at this point. We're about to cross 30,000 subscribers. That is a huge number, and you know, I make these videos for you guys. You know, I read the comments. I try to respond to almost every one. So if you like this video and want to see more of the Camaro, comment below. If you want to see more VinWiki style interview videos, comment below. I probably shouldn't call them VinWiki style videos, but you know, obviously we all know that's what it is. They do a great job, and you guys know I watch their videos every day. I comment over there quite a bit as well. If you want to support the builds, I'm not asking for money or anything like that. There's no reason for that, but some people keep asking, you know, where do I make my money? It's all detailed on the channel. You can go find that in videos and stuff. But if you do want to support the builds, patreon.com/watchjrgo. I just kind of turned it on and put like a $1 a month option on there. You can definitely do that if you're so inclined. I'm definitely, like I said, not asking. It's just, if you want to, I'd be happy to have you. And that is it for today, guys. Please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. There's no bonus content here, but I guess there's this toilet over here that I was over helping Brian change the other day, so I gotta put that in my house this week. That's my project.